You called down the thunder, well now you got it. So run, you cur. Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming! You tell them I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Welcome to the Dynasty Defined podcast, a show discussing the most decorated program in the history of sport, the Oklahoma State Cowboys wrestling program. I'm your host, Lee Cothran, joined by my co-host here, Daton Fix, and we've got two really special guests joining today, coming off of very fresh national championships, I think number 144 and number 145 in program history, DJ Hamiti and WYATT HENDRICKSON, Second Lieutenant WYATT HENDRICKSON to the rest of us, I guess. So welcome to the podcast, guys, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats.
I definitely think that Dean can say the same. It's been a pretty exciting week here in Stillwater. Pretty exciting weekend. I think it's still soaking in. I remember after both of our matches, just walked over to Dean. We're looking at each other like, dude, we're national champs, baby. Like, we're just looking at each other and hugging and all the good stuff. But it's been exciting to be back in Stillwater and receive the support from this amazing town.
Well, talk to us about just becoming a national champion. I mean, has it sunk in? I mean, are you still just feeling that high, or are you waiting to come down from it? Are you waiting for somebody to come wake you up from a dream?
Yeah, so I mean, after I went up to WYATT, and I was like, it's kind of like surreal, right? Like you don't really feel it. I think due to the adrenaline right after the match, you're kind of wound up from that 7-minute war that you just had, or 8-minute war you just had, and it kind of sunk in the day after once we got to wind down and relax a little bit. But yeah.
So walk us through that final moment. You're on the mat, hand gets raised. There's the celebration, of course, that goes on after. But really, what's the first thing that went through your mind? WYATT, I would love to hear from you, especially with just the way that everything went down and winning in the last 30 seconds like that, and having to keep him down, and then it's just there's so much excitement there. What was going through your head?
I kind of blacked out because the last thing I remember is I was sitting there and I was looking at the clock, watching it count down. I was squeezing a little tighter, looking at the clock, and he tried to stand up, and then I finally, broke him down, and then I remember trying to stand up and I just fell, and then I didn't feel anything for I don't even know how long. I was getting pummeled in the face by the coaches. I couldn't. I don't even know. It was just insane. I was running around and that lasted until probably I got out of the arena. I didn't even know. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was trying to remember, okay, the president's here, my commander-in-chief, let's show him some respect. Let's go to my family. Let's show them some love, because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. Let's go to the coaches. Let's show them some love. Everything kind of just was a blur. I mean, I was on a good high. I was just levitating around for the past 48 hours. And it's kind of settling down a little bit, but I'm still just, I think I've seen so many videos and rewatches of what happened, and it's just exciting. Every time I rewatch it, I get involved, and I'm just like, dude, no way. It's the perfect, kind of like a Cinderella story, that last shot was a 15-second shot, it was just the perfect slow motion environment, and everything that just happened was pretty sweet. It was pretty cool.
Daton, you said afterwards that WYATT HENDRICKSON just beat the best heavyweight wrestler of all time. The fact that he just went for it, he took that shot, grabbed his leg, kind of lost grip a little bit, found a way to keep it, suck his leg in on an Olympic gold medalist. Not many have had the opportunity to wrestle that kind of match. You're one of few who's wrestled fellow Olympic medalists and things like that. You know, what do you ask of Wyatt there on what was going through his mind, and how did he maintain his composure and stay patient there?
Well, I was just super proud that he went for it. It's pretty easy in that moment to freeze up and just last 30 seconds, you're getting beat and just make it look like you're trying to do something. You see that all the time at the end of matches. The guy really looks like he's trying to score, but he doesn't really take a committed shot. But Wyatt, you took a real committed shot, got a little bite on it, and just hit a knee slide like you've done a million times in the room, and got the takedown. One thing that I did want to ask you was, you were walking around the mat saying something. It looked like you were saying, "Is there no one else?" So I want to know, the story behind that, and the reason why you're saying it.
Yes. So, I mean, I love my, I mean, you can even see right here, a little bit of Spartan built into everything. And there's a movie about, there's a warrior called Achilles, and it's kind of like the David and Goliath story, but, outside the Bible, just, but Achilles was, he went against this massive giant, and because they're about to go to war, and they're like, well, you're best guy against our best guy. And this is the scene in the movie. And, he runs out there, like, just nonchalantly, like, whatever, goes out there. This massive giant, like, 15 feet tall, whatever, jumps with his sword, one slash, and kills him, and walks over to the army of hundreds of thousands of people and just yells at him.
Is there no one else? Is there no one else?
Years old, I was at a Nebraska Huskers. Maybe I was even younger, but I was at a Nebraska Huskers duel. And Tucker Lane, who's someone I've looked up to a lot in my wrestling career, I'm close with his family. He took out, I think he took out a national champ, and he just looked to the crowd and went to the other bench and said, "Is there no one else?" And he recited that. And I knew if there was a moment ever to quote the great Achilles, it was going to be after I just slayed Gable Stevenson in the national finals. But back to even what we just talked about. I took a committed shot. I'd even dare say it was only because I was overcommitted to that shot that I took him down. Because before I took that shot, I already made up my mind, like, hey, this is what's going to take. I'm going to have to shoot, and I'm going to have to when I take that one shot, that's it. That's going to be one opportunity. We talk about matches. There's 30 seconds left. There's not going to be enough time because I had been marinating that shot, trying to, get him. I had to make myself unpredictable. But before I even took that shot, I knew that's the only shot I was going to take, and I knew I was going to take him down. Because when I got it, you say it's easy because if I didn't have that mindset of really wanting to win that match, when I lost my hands, I probably just backed down, like, oh, I didn't get it. But I was like, dude, I'm getting this. I had the shot, I completely lost it. I just kept going with it though. I'm like, no, I want it, circle 2 times, and it took everything I had to put my pressure into Gable, because that man hasn't been taken down in 3 years, like ever. He was taken down last year or 2 years ago when he was here, but hasn't been taken down all season in 3 years. His big win streak, all until the last 15 seconds of his college career. So it was just an exciting time. I'm really just thankful for obviously all the coaches here, Coach Taylor, Coach Jimmy, Coach Gilman, the little ritual we do before every match, and everything worked out perfectly the way it was supposed to lead into that match for me to be a national champion.
Amazing stuff. And I'll ask you one more question before we hop over to DJ. And I know you got to run, but I really want you to take a moment to help us understand just your background. You're trained for war, right? You're one of America's elite in an academic field and all of that stuff. You went to the service academy. You got this opportunity to come to Stillwater. Your whole life leads you up to this point and gives you the fundamentals and the preparation to have gone out there and achieved that in spite of everybody counting you out. I mean, nobody gave you a chance, right? Walk us through just all of that, the preparation and your life and all of that. I mean, just tell us more about what got you here and how you blocked everything out and how you just believed in yourself and
Absolutely. The pivotal point, I mean, first off, Coach Taylor spoke to us early in the year about, hey, are you a competitor in the sport? Or are you a fan of the sport? You know, because it's easy to be both, which you don't always want to be. You know, you're following all the wrestling social media platforms. When you get on Instagram, all this, you use wrestling, you look at the rankings, you look at all this stuff. So, I mean, I've always been that. I've always looked up all that stuff. But this year, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So I unfollowed every single social media, Flow Wrestling, anything wrestling on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. Because, you know, on Facebook Marketplace Warrior, best deals you'll ever find. But whenever I'm doing that, it's important to just be able to not get involved, not get emotionally attached. I never saw anything on social media prior that whole weekend of nationals. I mean, all season, I just haven't followed any of it. Obviously, the one exception is Oklahoma State wrestling. You know, love the boys. That's different. But I think that's what it really took, because when I went out there, Gabe was definitely a fan of the sport as well, because I mean, I know he was watching everything, because there was doubt in his mind. I mean, rightfully so, and I had no doubt in my mind when I went out there. You could see that in the very first scramble. He went, "Oh shoot, this guy actually wants to compete. This guy wants it," and that scared him. He wrestled the rest of the match a little bit differently, because he was like, "This guy's not just gonna give this to me on a silver platter like he thought." And, you know, finally after that match, I was like, you know what? I want to go see what was out there. And a lot of, you know, the feeds were blowing up, and the best post ever, the one I absolutely love, is Flow Wrestling was like, what's WYATT Hendrickson's chance of winning this match? And every single person, you know, besides Oklahoma, I love the Oklahoma fans. They're like 100, like, he's got this, you know. Everyone else is just like, you're an absolute idiot if you think anything about this. This is a 99.99. You look up ChatGPT and say, well, what's the probability of this happening? It says like, the match is over, man. It's already done. It's already spoken for. So going and seeing that stuff after the fact, it kind of just made me that more excited. But, you know, at the Air Force Academy, they built a pretty good foundation, you know, for me to be able to handle academics, military, and wrestling, of course. And, you know, those are all life skills that I'm going to carry with me the rest of my life. And so having that foundation, and then being able to come here to Oklahoma State and have them, you know, sharpen up my wrestling in my athletic category, you know, it's all those small habits we started all the way back in August, you know, when I first got here. And I think, you know, Dean can attest to that. It's you know, we've had great coaches our entire lives, but every single coach can offer a different opinion and a different perspective. And kind of listening to those perspectives is important, because you have to actually want to get better and want to listen. Because you can listen and get something can go in one ear and out the other. But I know that Dean was at like every single extra practice this entire year. I mean, Dayton, you're probably there with him, you know, at the RTC practices, and I went a couple times to get some extra work in. But I mean, Dean was just so committed to doubling down on what the coaches were trying to tell us. And you can see that a lot of us learned a lot, but some of us really took it seriously. You know, Dean set a goal for himself to be a national champion, and he put himself in the perfect situation to do that, because he had put in the work, he put in the training, he had listened to all the coaches. You know, this man gave up bread. This man wasn't even eating bread for months. I'm like, dude, like, he's like, do you want my toast? I'm like, well, you're not going to eat it. He's like, dude, no, it's not, you know, it's not what I want. I want to feel my best. So it's stuff like that that's really important. You can't just lollygag around and just expect something to happen. You have to take action and make it happen. And so I think it finally came time to get paid dividends on that hard work that had been put in all year. And, you know, now Dean and I are going to be national champions for the rest of our lives.
Amazing stuff, WYATT. Thanks for giving Oklahoma State a chance, and for coming to Stillwater, and for being a part of the history. You know, your portrait is on the wall, and you know nobody's ever going to take that away. And it's a big deal, right? It's hard to make history at Oklahoma State. That's something that John Smith used to say a lot, or all the time, and I've heard David Taylor say it a few times. And you definitely did that. And in your year at Oklahoma State, and going out there and accomplishing what you accomplished is heck of a feat. So congratulations on your wins against everybody. You know, heck, everybody this year, undefeated national champion. That's a heck of a deal. Your average mat time was ridiculous. I Dayton and I had discussed a few times whether or not you actually hate wrestling because you just try to get off the mat so quick. We appreciate you, and we're glad we get to see you around town still for the next few years. I think Dayton's excited to have you as a teammate.
I'm excited to have Daton as a teammate and Dean. This is going to be exciting. All the boys are staying in Stilly. So I'm excited. But hey, thank you guys very much. We'll be in touch soon.
Yep.
Sounds great. Thanks, Wyatt.
Thanks, guys.
DJ, you're now a 3-time All-American, a national champion. Was the burden kind of lifted from your shoulders here on just last year was a letdown, right? And, you learned some things. You lost to David Carr and Isaac Olenek, so it's not like you had the easiest path comparatively. But you did the same thing. You took a chance. You came to Stillwater before you knew David Taylor and company was going to be in town. What kind of prompted all of that change of scenery, and in your wildest imagination at the time, did you think that David Taylor would be your coach and that he'd bring you to be a national champion?
I didn't know that David was going to be our coach, but we were obviously all super excited when we heard that announcement. We all looked up to him since we were little. I've been watching him from his college all the way to international forever. Seems like my whole life. But yeah, I mean, after last year's nationals, obviously didn't I wanted, and I knew that I needed to make a change, like coaching wise, training wise, and I found that the best fit was here in Stillwater. So came here immediately and put the work in, and we're here today.
So your style has always been real smooth, just chain wrestling. That's something that was really highlighted, for sickos like me that saw it, when you're at Wisconsin and the way that you wrestled when the news came down about you coming to Stillwater. It was like, oh man, this is great, because it was just this guy has something that we haven't seen at OSU in a while. He's got this funk to him that really makes him a really exciting wrestler. What allowed you to kind of keep your faith in that style and kind of keep that same thing rolling with you as you changed scenes? You came down here and you new coach, you knew everything. What was it that made you double down on your ankle pick and your ability to chain wrestle and the way that you do things and operate?
Yeah, I think once Coach Dave got here and we started to work on stuff, that I realized that this style could work to beat anyone in the country. It was just refining the little things that weren't as wild and as kind of not like refined as my past couple of years. Like in the finals match when my leg was up in the air last year, definitely would have rolled over and rolled under and tried to scramble my way out of it, and probably would have ended up giving up a takedown. But this year, just learning how to be patient, but be a little bit funky when I have to be.
So just being committed, being confident in it, but also being more patient really was the thing.
Being calm and confident in the positions that I know I can win in, but not over wrestling to the point where I end up getting scored on by making a mistake.
So talk to us about your confidence. That was something that really stood out throughout the season, was the way that you carried yourself. It's, OSU's had a lot of very confident, very competent wrestlers over the years. Heck, Dayton's one of them that always, he exuded that as well. But the way that you carry yourself on the mat really was just a visible, this guy's not gonna lose. He's got this swagger to him that was exciting. Right? It's just when you kind of pay attention to that kind of body language. What was this something that was learned, or is that something that you just kind of have, or was there something about Stillwater that brought that on you?
Yeah, I think just being here in general is more calming to me. You know, a calming way of training, calming school, everything about it. And I really tried to be relaxed every time I stepped on the mat. And I think I enjoyed this year more than every other year. So naturally, I was more calm going out there. And I just really tried to have fun in the last year. And I think as a result of that, it looked pretty calm and confident during the matches.
Was there something that the coaching staff did or says to you that kind of helps you bring that confidence out, and that help you whenever you go out there and wrestle?
We all have like our certain routines. You know, I usually talk to Coach Gilman before, Coach Kennedy. I've talked to all the coaches before, and they come up and, you know, say, go out there, you know, you're the man, go do what you're supposed to do, make a statement. And, you know, it's last year when I was warming up, I'd always be super jittery walking around, but the coaches did a really good job of, you know, calming me down, saying to sit down when I have more time than I need to warm up, and, you know, really just take a step back and relax before my matches.
That's awesome.
So, what does being a national champion actually mean to you? I mean, it's not just about the title, not just about the this week that you're going to be celebrating, but talk to us about the journey. Talk to us about what all the work and the late nights, early mornings, extra practices means to kind of cap it with this kind of performance, especially considering, you know, the battle that you had to go through with, from the quarterfinals on.
Yeah, I think that, you know, my performance was a testament to all the hard work I've put in and my lifestyle and, you know, my training and, you know, just having ultimate faith in everything that I do. And, yeah, I mean, being a national champion obviously feels great. And I think it gives me a unique opportunity to, like, be a role model for other wrestlers that are coming up and, you know, want to accomplish the same thing as me. So I think it puts me in two positions of, you know, proud of myself, but I can also, you know, use it to help others in the process.
Yeah. Let's expound on that a little bit. Tell me more about the next generation, and if there's a kid who has been watching you this year and says, that's what I want to do. That's the style of wrestler I want to be. That's the confidence I want to exude. What do you say to him or her?
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's going to be similar to what me and Daton here in the RTC practices every day in the practice room every day. You know, just staying calm and really enjoying it. You know, being grateful for the opportunities that have been presented to you in your life. And, you know, I think that when you're grateful for what you've been given, it makes it a lot easier to go out there and wrestle to the fullest of your potential.
Definitely.
Amazing stuff. Daton, do you have any other questions that you wanted to ask DJ here?
Yeah. What adjustments do you think that you made from your Big 12 finals match against Keegan to the NCAA finals match?
Yeah, one big area was baseline defense for sure. In the Big 12s, I went baseline for a couple seconds, and then I'd go back into like scrambly, funky stuff, and that's what ended the match. I got taken down from doing that. So it was really about making those reps of baseline defense really count in the practice room in those 2 weeks. And I think that it showed in both my matches, the semifinals and the finals. You know, Levi got in my legs a couple times, and so did Keegan. But the baseline defense is really what I adjusted at the end there.
And then one other question. So there was a takedown that went to review, got overturned. I thought it was a takedown. What were the coaches saying to you in the corner during that review?
Yeah, they were saying to be prepared for them to overturn it, and, you know, be ready to step right back on the line and go get another one. And I think that's a testament to what they preach. You know, they preach to always be ready in situations that might not go your way. And points that may be wiped off from you. But, right when that takedown got wiped away, I was the first one back on the line, ready to get another one. So, yeah.
Yep, that's awesome.
I do want to ask about that minute that you spent with your leg in the air with O'Toole there. O'Toole hasn't failed to finish many takedowns in that position in his career. Heck, if the guy gets to your leg, you're pretty well done most of the time, unless you're. I mean, heck, even if your name's David Carr or whatever. What? Walk us through that moment. I mean, it had to have felt like it was 10 minutes to you, right? But walk us through how you kept your composure, how you stayed patient.
Yeah. So, I mean, we get in that position all the time in practice, and I'll be jumping around the room for 3 minutes with Coach Cowboy running me out all around the circle with my leg up in the air. And I think it's just learning that feel and trying to get your leg back down. But I mean, he shoved it up pretty high, and I was definitely in a bit of trouble there. But like I said, just staying calm there and being able to really know the position that you're in to defend that off.
And then, talking about adjustments between Big 12s and now, ultimately you got to your offense in a similar way. You mentioned baseline defense, but then there was an element of just being aware of the situation. What helped you keep that awareness and stay top of mind on, okay, this is where we are in the match. This is what needs to happen. This is what I need to make sure I do. Do you even think about that kind of thing?
In my matches, most of the time, I am completely blank. Like I do not have a single thought running through my head. I think it's kind of like an instinctual thing. But like right when the walkout music starts, completely blank. I don't think about much. But this weekend, I was trying to like listen to songs in my head or listen to music that was being played, so I'd keep myself present in that match. And I mean, at Big 12s, I kind of, once I got taken down to go into overtime, kind of went off the rails a little bit and didn't reset too well. So it was really about making that adjustment to be able to stay focused and present in situations that might not go my way, and to be able to reset like that challenge and go right back on the line to go score more points.
So just a couple more things here and then we'll let you go. But both those matches and your Big 12 finals match. So the Big 12 finals against Keegan, the semifinal against Levi, and then the final against Keegan again. Going back and watching those and looking, just breaking down the film for me as a fan and somebody who, doesn't really have a high wrestling IQ. Those are like master classes in wrestling with a high IQ, being situationally aware. You just mentioned that you're kind of blank, but at the same time, it's just rising to your preparation here on just understanding where you are on a mat. With that extra wrestling IQ, with the things that took place there, where do you think your biggest leap really came from this year? Was it in your physicality? Was it in your training? Was it in your preparation? Or was it just, mentally, or a combination of all of it?
I think it's a combination of everything, being like extremely disciplined with lifestyle things, having calm mindset and being fully faithful in every training thing that I've done. Last year that definitely was not the case. And, making those jumps with the new coaches and new teammates was extremely, extremely easy for me. Everyone here is working for the same goal, and they keep you on the right track. If you're having trouble with something, you can talk to one person get their opinion, another, and they're both going to be good. And I think that, it was a individual effort, but a team effort as well to, pick each other up and really take everyone under their wings to accomplish the goals that I have.
Amazing stuff, DJ. What's next for you? What are we working on now that you've capped off your college career with a national title?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around Stillwater and train in the RTC with everyone here and try to accomplish those international goals. But in the short term, just gonna take this week and kind of relax and unwind and reflect on the season and enjoy a little break. But yeah, we'll be back to work here soon.
Wonderful. Will we see you at the Open? Is that in the books? Wonderful.
Yeah, I think so. But I'm worried about relaxing for this week and unwind. But next week I'll be in the room for sure.
Yeah. Celebrate your win. Celebrate. Like, don't let this pass by.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And back to work.
Amazing. Daton, you want to leave us on anything here with Dean before we let him go?
No, just that I'm proud of you. It was awesome to watch. I said at the beginning of the year on the podcast that you were probably going to be the most fun Oklahoma State wrestler to watch. And for me, I think that was the case. You were always entertaining, went out there looking to score points the whole 7 minutes, and it was awesome to watch. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Dean. I, again, really appreciate you giving OSU a chance, and I'm glad it paid off for you and for the program. And now you're a big part of it, and hang around through LA, and let's see what all you guys can accomplish here with each other. I think that there's some really, really big things in store for y'all, and excited to watch it continue to develop. So we'll get you on to do a longer form thing here in the next few months, and we'll get to know you a little bit better. And looking forward to it. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
All right. Well, that was fun, Daton. Thanks for setting that up with Dean and WYATT HENDRICKSON, getting to talk to them about their weekend. I mean, it doesn't get much better. So glad we were able to do that. As for the rest of the team, 6 All-Americans and another finalist there makes it a heck of a tournament. Kind of reaches what we talked about all season as being successful, right? What was going to be a successful tournament. Throw out the team results, wasn't really super concerned about that, but if they could get 6 to 8 All-Americans and then just show jumps in level for a lot of these guys, then that was going to be called a success, and they seemed to reach that. What really stood out for you this weekend on the tournament for the guys?
I thought that they looked relaxed. They looked like they were wrestling with no pressure on them, and I think that it showed. They really performed well. Outside of maybe one or two guys, they all pretty much met or exceeded expectations, which is awesome. There's always going to be stuff happens at the national tournament. It's never going to be a perfect national tournament, but I thought it was a really good first year for the coaching staff, and it just proved that people are going to want to come here, and where they're going to have success when they do.
Definitely. Troy Bradley makes it to the national finals, and really his biggest win and match really came over Matt Ramos. He lost to Ramos earlier in the year. Ramos is a bad matchup for him. We talked about it before. He's a long guy who is stingy and kind of a high flyer as well, which makes it kind of a dangerous match for Troy. And he found a way to overcome that, and then of course pick up the win over Eddie Van Treska again in the semifinal before having Robinson in the final for North Carolina State, who he did lose to. But what is it about Troy's run that really makes you excited for his next 2 seasons in store?
I just think that he took a big leap in his wrestling from last year to this year. He just looked focused. He didn't look like he was going to let anything rattle him. And he wrestled really well in the quarterfinals and kind of started to get a little tight in the semifinals and finals. But that happens. He was still in position to win both those matches. Obviously, it came down to just riding. He needed to just focus on putting a hard ride on, even in the semis in Tresca and in the finals against Robinson. He luckily got away with it in the semis. Probably, I think he only had 2 or 3 seconds of riding time, so he decided to go neutral, get the takedown, which was awesome. And then the similar thing happened. It was pretty much a exact replica of that semifinal match, and rode him for 2 or 3 seconds, decided to go neutral, and just couldn't get the takedown. And those officials, they're not gonna let they're not gonna call 2 stall calls there in 30 seconds to let the other guy win.
Yeah.
So he's just got to find a way to focus and stay in the moment in those when you get to those ride outs, because he knows that he can ride longer than 2 or 3 seconds. It's just a matter of staying focused and finding something that, because they got out in similar ways. They just kind of set out and did a little hip heist and they were out. So finding something that stops that initial sequence of them getting to their butt. And I think that I'm still really excited about his career. He has 2 more years, and he's only going to get better from here on out.
Definitely. Well, that was the interesting thing about both of those matches was Troy. He's very good on top, right? Like he's fully capable of riding out both of those guys for 30 seconds. But they seem to Van Tresca must have noticed something, and then they seem to have kind of you know I guess noticed that or seen it maybe in their previous matches with Troy or something like that, that they thought, if I can just keep him from sucking me back and getting a leg over my hip, then I can get out. So if I just got to move quick. Yeah, that unfortunate, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. And yeah, I think that 2 time if he can get back, or well, he's just going to have to keep his preparation going and his focus, and he can definitely get back there next year. 125 is going to reintroduce a couple of guys, but it's one of the wilder weight classes in college wrestling every year, just because it's you've always got young faces and everything in between that makes it really difficult. So should be really fun for them. Dustin Plott ended up coming in 4th place. He fell in the semifinals to Carter Strachey. Just looked really good up to that point. He scored bonus on en route to the semifinals. And then he got kind of ran into a bit of a brick wall. It seemed like beforehand, we kind of thought, yeah, this is going to be somebody getting a takedown in the 3rd period, and it probably is going to be one of those close matches that neither guy's going to want to make a mistake. But Strachey was a lot more aggressive than I expected him to be. He might have been healthier this season than he's been in the past, but he executed really well and took out Dustin in that match. And then in the 3rd, 4th place match, he got over Chris Foca in the consolation semifinals, which was a really good win for Dustin, considering Foca knocked him out of the championship side of the bracket in Tulsa by pinning him. I think Dustin kind of left his leg out there, and Foca took advantage. And he beat Foca in the semifinal of the consolations, then lost to McAnally of Minnesota in the consolation finals in the 3rd place match. And took a shot at the end that may or may not have been necessary. But you asked Dustin about it, and he said, I came into the world shooting, and I'm going to leave it shooting. So he went for it, and he just came up a little short, but that's okay. He wrestled to his seed, and he seems very happy with how his time ended up. And it's what a career for Dustin Plott, 4-time All-American. One of what, 16 in program history?
Yep. He was a 16th four-time All-American. So that's nothing to hang your head about. He's had an amazing career, and I think that one of the reasons he can have so much satisfaction in the way his career ended is because he knows that he did everything right. He knows that he put in the work, and there was nothing left that he could have done in his training to ultimately make a difference. And he just had some really good guys in his way. You could take it if he was a different age, he could have been a multiple time national champion. He just ran into some guys that were really good, and it just happens that way sometimes. And it doesn't mean that Dustin Blott's not a really good wrestler. It's just he had some tough guys, and he was still in a lot of tough matches with those guys. So super proud of Dustin Blott. He's the epitome of what being a Cowboy is, and I'm excited to see him stick around and be my teammate again for the next couple of years.
Yeah, Dustin's one of those kind of people that you want to be around. He's a magnetic personality, just a great person, and that's what you want in the program, right? Is guys like that who are just good human beings at the end of the day. So I'm really sad to see him move on, right? Like from the college program, but excited that he's going to be with the RTC and excited to see what he can do in freestyle. He's had a lot of success in freestyle in the past and been off from it for a little bit, but definitely excited to see him make another run here, especially with the partners that he has around him right now. I mean, doesn't get much better than David Taylor and Ziggy Valencia. So he can definitely jump some levels here and make a run at it. So that'll be great. The others, you got Camamine and Caleb Fish, who both finished up on the podium in 8th place to cap off their careers. They're similar thing. They came to Oklahoma State. Not Fish had never finished on the podium before. Amin had a very disappointing season last year, and both had to gut it out to get there. Right. Fish got upset in the semifinal or in the quarterfinal to Trevor Tremblay, who ended up coming in 3rd place at 157 pounds, and then found a way to come back and get into that 8th place match. I think he ended up wrestling Kasak in the first round of constellations there, of the constellation placing matches there, and then ended up there getting beat by not Cam Steed. I can't.
Yeah, Bianchi.
Matty Bianchi again for in that 8th place match, but ultimately finished up really well there. Got to the podium, which was his goal.
Yeah, he came into the tournament as a 12th seed and wrestled really good those first couple rounds. Upset number 5 seed Cannon from Ohio State, and really probably one of the highlights of that first day. A big throw to win the match. And then he was in a situation where he could have easily been in the semifinals or even the finals. He wins that quarterfinal match where he was really in control of the match the whole time. Just came down to the end and just gave up a late takedown where he really probably shouldn't have given it up. And if he would have won that match, he would have went on to wrestle Blaze, which I think anything could have happened in that semifinal. But he dropped that match and then had a really difficult match for him just because in the blood round he was going up against Chase Saldate, who was his former teammate at Michigan State, and both those guys have never been on the podium, so it was probably a tough matchup. Not only because they probably wrestled each other a lot, but you never want to crush someone's dreams that you're pretty close to. It was probably just a difficult situation for both of them, and Fish did what he had to do and won the match and got on that podium for the first time, which is just another hats off to the coaching staff to get someone 1 year. He's been trying to get on the podium his whole career, been close, and you get him over the hump. That's that's huge for the coaching staff and for Caleb Fish.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, similar deal here. I mean, he'd been on the podium before in his career a couple times, and well, three times. He becomes a four-time All-American, and he um, ultimately wrestled really well. I think the guys that he lost to are, all timers, right? He lost to Mitch Messenbrink and ended up losing in the the seventh place match to Cam Steed, who is a sophomore and is making big strides, right? For Missouri there. Um, but I mean, also similarly, nothing to be disappointed about for him. He ended up having a good run there and finishing up definitely not where he wanted it to finish up, but in a place where he can say, "I'm a four-time All-American. I'm gave it my best shot."
Yeah, especially after falling short year before, it's not easy to bounce back and have a good year that next year. And he made some tough changes. He could have stayed in Michigan, stayed in the same environment, but he thought that he needed a change, and he went out and sought out Oklahoma State, which we were super grateful for. And it paid off for him. Got him back on the podium. Outplaced the Michigan guy that they had, who was actually seated above him, the 6 seed Mantonia. So it paid off for him. He wrestled. We've been saying it all year. He was going to wrestle his best at the national tournament, and I think that he did do that. He definitely had a different just vibe about him. He was going to win those close matches this time around, and did that a couple of times and got on the podium. So super proud of Cam and him. Just glad he was a Cowboy for the year we had him.
Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like he's going to stick around for a while too. So that'll be really good for him and for the RTC. Luke Serber had a disappointing tournament. No other way to put it. End of the day, though, he wrestled his best season this year by far, and can't be disappointed in himself or in his career at Oklahoma State. The guy left it on the mat every time, and that's how he went out too. In that first round matchup, he went for a big move. He was trying to get out of a tough situation, and ended up kind of getting into an even tougher situation, and dropped that match. And then in the first round of consolations, he just ran into a very tough opponent. Similar deal, just couldn't quite get over the hump. But end of the day, like I said, best season of Luke's career.
Yeah, he wrestled great all year, and I know that he really wanted to be an All-American, get on the podium. But he beat two guys that were on the podium in the regular season. He beat Novak and Stephen Little, who ended up being on the podium. So I mean, it's not like that just proves he had a really good regular season. He's right there, and he's definitely good enough to be an All-American. I just think that it was there is a thing of wanting something too much. And I can attest to that. You want something so bad that you're not gonna. You just get tight. You get tight. You get nervous. You start to have this anxiety where, and it just affects you in more than one ways. You get more tired. You just aren't going to perform to the best of your ability because you want something that's so bad. And I think I haven't talked to Luke about it yet, but I'm sure that played a little bit of a factor into it. I know how bad he wanted it. So obviously I feel for him, that he had to go out that way, but he still had a great season and a great career. He's made the Big 12 finals a couple times, and he's a great Cowboy, and I'm happy he was on my team and happy he was here at Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Again, this is a Luke Serber fan account. That's not changing. I think that will just continue to be true. Every time we think about Luke Serber, it's going to be like, yeah, that's what this podcast is really about. It's about Luke Serber. So we'll talk to him later on, I'm sure. Gonna have to skip getting to the other guys here, but we will next week. We'll go into more depth on the brackets and kind of what we saw and heard, and all the stuff that went on in Philly this past weekend. But before we log off, Dayton, I really just want to hear you talk about um, what you think this performance means for Oklahoma State wrestling and why it's important for Cowboy fans to continue to support and be really excited about a third place finish, which isn't the bar, right? Like we want national championships, so third place, but at the end of the day, like this is really, really big for the program and for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, it should just get Oklahoma State fans really excited. It's just proof that this was probably the right hire. It was the right hire. Bringing David Taylor in and the coaching staff that he put together. It paid off. We had our best year in a long time, and I don't think that that played the biggest role in all of that. Bringing in that coaching staff and everything that they did this year. It's only going to go up from here, and it's going to be a lot easier if the more support that they have in the community and the Oklahoma State wrestling fans, the more that they can support the team and give however they can. It's definitely gonna help them, and it's just an exciting time to be a Cowboy fan. I've been saying it all year, but that's the proof is it was at that national tournament. It's just exciting. It's an exciting style that they're gonna wrestle, and I think that the wrestling world is kind of awake now that Oklahoma State's for real, and we're on the way back up.
Amazing. Well, as always, Dynasty Defiance going to bring you the breakdowns and really start talking about scoring and technique and all that stuff. And Dayton and I'll get what interviews we can and do what we can to make sure that if you're new to the sport, if you're trying to get into it, then we're gonna make sure to help you learn. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to either of us, and we'll answer them however we can. But definitely wonderful time to be a Cowboy fan, like you just said. So listen, learn, get involved. This is probably the most approachable sport on campus, quite frankly. So it's going to be a lot of fun to keep up with, and before we know it, it'll be on top of the podium. I've been saying it all weekend. Penn State's not coming down. Oklahoma State's going to have to go catch them, and that's good. That's a good thing for everybody, because it just means that the bar is raising on what competition needs to be, and how you need to go about doing things. And there's no quick fix. I think that the performance this weekend is going to make it about as quick as it can possibly be, because, as mentioned, if you're looking to transfer or if you're looking to change your environment, there's probably no better place than Oklahoma State to do that. But also, if you're a high school recruit, you can come to Oklahoma State and reach your goals. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this chase, and I'm glad we've got a front row seat. So share this with your friends. Appreciate y'all listening, and we'll talk to y'all next week with a more in-depth dive into the tournament.